But now I want to take you to what's happening in as far as the news is concerned, and a section of members of parliament has threatened to impeach Health Cabinet Secretary, that is Susan Nakhumicha, for allegedly mishandling the ongoing doctors' strike. The threats came a day the striking doctors also vowed not to relent despite a court ruling ordering them back to work. Now, meanwhile, the government has stood its ground that the country cannot afford to meet the demands of the striking doctors. Let's get more with Joseph Wahongo.
Solidarity forever.
It's 12 days and counting since doctors in the country downed their tools. Tonight, the medics have vowed to stay put, accusing the government of failing to end their strike.
As to whether the strike is on and off, all I can say is, pray tell. None of our doctors is going back to work until the government ends its end of the strike. We were never on strike in the first place.
And a section of members of parliament have vowed to impeach Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha for allegedly mishandling the strike.
Hili jambo ni jambo ambalo linahusisha wajumbe wote bungeni, na wote wanasema ya kwamba lazima wapeleke Nakhumicha nyumbani.
Hospitals are closed. We are losing mothers, we are losing children. And these doctors are only saying, pay us our 12,000 shillings, which the court had agreed that will be increased to be paid to us.
Meanwhile, the government has pleaded with the doctors to accept its offer to solve the crisis.
Let us all come to the table, as the lawyers say, with clean hands. Clean hands. And we are ready to discuss, we are ready to negotiate, we are ready to agree.
Speaking in Naivasha, Head of Public Service Felix Koskei said the government could not afford the 12 billion shillings demand to pay salaries of over 1,200 interns.
So why don't we make sure that all of them, within the budget that we have, go through them? That is why we said we are setting aside 2.4 billion. To take all of them, I think they are 1,200 or somebody, all of them on board, let them go to undergo their internship.
At the same time, clinical officers who also went to strike on Monday this week are accusing governors of undermining their right to hold industrial action.
Yesterday, there was also several meetings where governors called our members to engage them, and even telling them that they only want them to give services, even if it is organized a minimum service. And some of them, I can vehemently say, they were even telling our members that the problem is occasioned by the Minister of Health, and they can fund them to come and demonstrate at the Minister of Health. And yet we know they are the biggest problem.
Of course, that's an ongoing story that we'll be keeping tabs on and bringing you up to date with what is happening in as far as the doctors' strike is concerned. So let's go now to matters AU, where President William Ruto has intensified campaigns for opposition leader Raila Odinga's candidature for the African Union chairmanship position, with Ghana being the latest country to throw its weight behind his candidature. President Ruto, who spoke after holding bilateral talks with his host, that is President Nana Akufo-Addo, announced that in return, Kenya will be supporting Ghana for the position of Secretary for the Commonwealth 2024-2029. Gladys Mogai with more.
Ghana has committed to support Kenya's candidature for the position of chairperson of the African Union Commission 2025-2028, boosting Kenya's chances of bagging the position. Speaking after bilateral talks with the Ghanaian president, aimed at strengthening trade, diplomatic and historical ties with the East African nation, Nana Akufo-Addo pledged to support Kenya's candidature.
Thank you most sincerely for accepting to support Kenya's candidature for the position of the chairperson of the Africa Union Commission 2025-2028, which has been initiated following comprehensive stakeholder engagement process across government. Kenya's candidature is informed by our leading role in enhancing and sustaining the Pan-African agenda in terms of independence and sovereignty, peace and security, development and prosperity, as well as sustainability and climate action.
At the same time, President Ruto assured Ghana of Kenya's support for the candidate of Shirley Botchwey, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, for the position of Commonwealth Secretary General for the period 2024-2029.
Excellency, this presents an opportunity for Kenya and Ghana to collaborate. I take this opportunity to assure Your Excellency of my personal support and commitment of the Republic of Kenya to working with you and the government of the Republic of Ghana to further strengthen the bonds of friendship between our two countries.
During the second day of President Ruto's visit in Ghana, several agreements aimed at enhancing bilateral relations between the two countries were signed.
Deliberations centered on driving investment opportunities, domestic and foreign, into our two countries, and touched on the need for enhanced cooperation and partnership in our development efforts.
At the same time, President Ruto commended Ghana's decision to revoke visa requirement for all Africans by the end of the year, a move he said will enhance the continent's integration.
This commitment aligns with one of the goals of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to create a single market in the continent to drive economic growth, grow and create more jobs, and eradicate poverty.
To matters environment now, where all title deeds issued to individuals and agencies in gazetted forests are illegal and stand revoked. That is according to Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, that is Soipan Tuya, who visited Ololua Forest in Kajiado County and ordered the immediate demolition of the perimeter walls and also structures constructed within the forests. At the same time, among the state organizations affected are the Kenya Children's Welfare Society, the Institute of Primate Research and the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. Let's get more with Giverson Minor.
Following a public outcry by various forest conservation stakeholders and the Ololua community over alleged encroachment of the forest, Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Soipan Tuya, visited the forest Wednesday in a fact-finding mission. The CS immediately declared all title deeds issued to individuals and agencies within the gazetted forest across the country as illegal.
Any title that has been issued within a gazetted forest, and it's not just in Ololua, I think it's good for the notice of Kenyans that if you hold a title within a gazetted forest, it is irregular, it is illegal.
The uproar resulted from a move by the Child Welfare Society of Kenya to start demarcating a 66-acre piece of land within the forest, allegedly to build a shelter for vulnerable children under their care.
For the Child Welfare Society, I do not see the object for which they say they want to use the land for as one that is authentic.
A perimeter wall put up by the Institute of Primate Research was also demolished by the forest rangers. Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority, also sitting in the forest, was also ordered to detail their plans of disposing their radioactive waste without polluting the environment. The agencies were, however, directed to seek special user licenses to operate from the gazetted forest for activities only allowed by the government.
Wale waliopo katika msitu wako na special users license, hatuna shida na wao, hawaja haribu msitu. Ila ni wale wanakuja 66 alafu uje ukate hiyo miti na hali tunaambiwa tupande miti bilioni 15. Hiyo haiwezekani.
Now to matters education, where the Ministry of Education is in the process of mapping out schools that will effectively offer learning based on the 3 pathways in line with this competency-based curriculum, that is CBC. This will see learners specialize in careers of their choice based on the 3 pathways, namely arts and sports, social sciences, and science and technology, engineering and mathematics. This comes as Basic Education Principal Secretary, that is Belia Kipsang, assured the public of a smooth transition to senior school from junior school.
As learners in grade 8 prepare for grade 9 in junior schools, education stakeholders in collaboration with the Ministry of Education have held stakeholders meeting to deliberate on the transition process of learners in the country. Some of the key issues on the discussion table were mapping of schools that will effectively offer the 3 pathways in senior schools, which include social sciences, arts and sports, and science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM.
We have 11,000 senior schools, and one of the essence of this engagement is how do we map those particular schools to the pathways.
Fundamental questions on equipping teachers to deliver the curriculum are also raised as the Principal Secretary assured the country of its readiness for grade 9.
Within the next few days, we shall be rolling out the aspects of classrooms for grade 9. 16,000, almost 400. We know it to the last digit.
According to KICD Director Professor Charles Songondo, the CBC curriculum has also ensured that learners with special needs are catered for.
We have been developing curricula for special needs education either by adoption or by development.
Reviews of the CBC curriculum is also ongoing.
We are doing that this holiday, so from September you will be receiving reviewed books in that area. We shall do the same for grade 5 and grade 6.
We move on where the government will construct a digital hub in each of the 1,450 wards across the country to enable the youth access digital skills and online job opportunities. Speaking at Gai Chanjiru Boys High School, that is in Kandara constituency, Moranga County, during the school's annual prize-giving day, the Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Ali Dowalo said the initiative will help the unemployment to reduce the unemployment levels that is in the country. Owalo also revealed that the government is in the process of availing cheap, smart and nimble phones that will help the public access all government services on the e-Citizen platform.
We want to create jobs for the youth through ICT. Kwa hivyo katika kila ward, kila pembe ya nchi yetu tutakuwa na digital hub. Hapa Kandara niko na ward 6. Nitahakikisha kwamba tuko na digital hub 6 hapa Kandara.
The government has installed 2 extra fully equipped halls at Nyayo House in a move aimed at dealing with the backlog of passports at the Nyayo House. Speaking during a national border conference meeting in Nairobi, Immigration and the Citizen Services Principal Secretary, that is Dr. Julius Bitok, said the introduction of the state-of-the-art machines at the southern and northern wing of Nyayo House will enable Kenyans collect their passports without any difficulties.
The backlog of passports at Nyayo House will now be a thing of the past after the government commissioned 2 state-of-art banking halls within Nyayo House. Immigration Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Bitok urged all Kenyans who applied for their passport to visit the facility for collection.
I want to assure the country that Immigration Department, we are working so hard to ensure that everybody gets their passport on time without delay. And you can go there and visit yourself so that it's not a story you are being told.
He also revealed that the Immigration Department has increased the biometric decks from 10 to 20 to enable those applying for the document to do so without any difficulty.
Apply there, they do their biometrics within the shortest time possible, and they're able to enjoy the experience.
Kenyans who have applied for passports can now send an SMS to 22222.
Send a message
get
and
the status of their passports.
Respond to you immediately on where your passport is, whether your passport is under process, whether your passport is ready for collection, whether your passport is at what level. You should be able to get that information as soon as possible.
At the same time, Bitok said the government has introduced Rika Plan program to help the 700,000 refugees in Kakuma and Dadaab to be integrated back to community.
Initially, refugees were depending on the government for everything, but we have said we want to ensure that we give them an opportunity to be able to contribute to national development.
Thank you, Timothy Kipnosu, for that report. Now, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, has challenged the 3 arms of government to put aside vested interests and allow action to be taken against people who involve themselves in corruption. They said it's killing the nation, and the only solution is a radical transformation of the society's, that is, mindset. Speaking at Jumuiya Conference, NCCK Chairperson, Reverend Dr. Alphonse Kanga, called for radical reforms and formulation of policies that will help curb this vice. Now, the men of the cloth have also blamed the rise in road accidents in the country to corruption, saying the vice is slowly eating into every sector of the economy.
We challenge our governors to clean up their governments, to remove cartels and other corruption channels. On our part, we commit to the period between now and the next election to educate our people on integrity and values. This thing is beyond opposition. Are they there? If they are there, what is their role? If they are there, what is their role? Exactly. And if they are there, they should also come up and join with all Kenyans to come get a solution in this issue. In this regard, we challenge Parliament and especially the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to facilitate a comprehensive nationwide civic sensitization on this report.
We move on. The Kenya Marine Authority has embarked on a marine safety campaign in various parts of the country in a bid to ensure that all boats and marine equipment is in safe condition. Now, the Director General of the Kenya Maritime Authority, Martin Munga, said that the move is expected to avert cases of accident, especially during dark hours of the night. This and more in our continuous roundup.
Addressing the media at Mombasa Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach, the Kenya Marine Authority Director General Engineer Martin Munga said they have already trained all the boat operators on the safety precautions.
Serikali imekubali na kutuamrisha tufanye ukaguzi wa vyombo vya bahari nchini kote.
Meanwhile, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja claims doctors employed by Nairobi County have returned to work following the fulfillment of their collective bargaining agreement. Speaking during a health facility tour of Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, accompanied by Deputy Secretary of the United States Health and Human Services Andrea Palm, the governor said that the health facilities in Nairobi have doctors serving patients.
Daktari wetu wengi wako kazini. Vile niliwaambia warudi kazini, wamerudi kazini wengi. Wale ambao hawajarudi kazini tunasubiri waamue vile wanataka. Lakini sisi tumesema kama county ya kwamba tutahakikisha mahospitali yetu yana madaktari kwa sababu mambo yote ambao walikuwa wanahitaji pale ambapo Nairobi County inashughulika tumeshayatimiza.
Elsewhere, political leaders, locals and security officers from Matungu constituency have agreed to work together to curb the rise in crime rates in the area. This comes 2 days after locals stormed Koyonzo police station, vandalizing vehicles and other property in protest of deteriorating security conditions. In Kilifi County, parents from Sokoke ward have resorted to conducting harambes to raise funds to address the deteriorating state of infrastructure in public primary schools in the area. Meanwhile, Kenyans living in lowlands have been urged to move to safe areas following the predicted heavy rains expected in April.
Kumetabiriwa kuwa kutanyesha mvua mingi sana, milimita zaidi ya 30. Na hii inamaanisha nyando ambazo ni za chini kama wetlands zitafurika.
And Samburu County is using sports as a tool to fight gender-based violence cases, which have been on the rise, with the county ranked among those with the highest number of GBV cases in the country. Finally, Bomet Governor Professor Hilary Barchok has warned land grabbers in the county that their days are numbered, adding that he was on a mission to recover all stolen public lands.
There are lands that have been grabbed in Sotik, and it's public land. That land must come back to us, whether they like it or not. Anyone who has encroached on public land is an enemy of the public.
Well, and that story by Pauline Nasimiu brings us to a fast break of the bulletin. I'll be back with much more, including business and sports. Thank you for staying with us. We move on where the National Counterterrorism and Tourism Center, in partnership with 15, that is FM 101.9 radio station, that is an affiliate of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Somali language, have donated an assortment of foodstuffs to intellectually challenged children in Garissa Special School. The donation was part of the National Counterterrorism Center and 15 KBC stations' gesture of giving back to society and advocating for peace during this holy month of Ramadan.
They have done donation to our institution. They have given food to our learners. They have improved their nutritional nutrient, and we are very helpful that at least this is going to continue. They did similarly last year. They are doing it again this year, and they are promising even to go beyond that.
15 FM has been engaged in corporate social responsibilities for the last 10 years, since 2015. And today we brought food items, dry food, and also in terms of flour, rice, we brought beans, we brought even biscuits and milk for the children.
We've come to give our Ramadan donation, giving back to the society. We thank God again, it's a very good season where we're able now to express and reach out to the needy. So as KBC, as 15 FM, this is our heartbeat. Whenever we get a chance, we want to give back.
Now, manufacturers should switch most of their production activities to nighttime when demand for electricity is low. That is according to Energy Principles Secretary Alex Washira, who says effective utilization of the time of use tariff will cut electricity cost for manufacturers by 25%.
High cost of electricity, its quality and steady supply have been among the concerns for local manufacturers. This prompted the introduction of special tariffs targeting manufacturers, such as the time of use tariff. However, there is low uptake, with most manufacturers still having their operations during the day.
The time of use tariff is, we are telling the manufacturers, what you're producing during the day, try and double up that so that you also produce during the night. And that way you can be able to save as much as 25% of your cost of power. So that is one. Two, as KPLC and the entire energy sector, we are trying to lower our system and transmission losses.
On reliability, he says completion of the Rabai New Bamburi Kilifi High Voltage Line and Bomet Narok Transmission Line by 2025 will end power blackouts mostly in the coastal and western region.
Because if you are able to transmit more power, evacuate more power to the load centers, we increase the consumption such that we reduce the venting during the night, then the average cost of power will definitely come down.
The 2024 Manufacturing Priority Agenda indicates that high cost of electricity, unpredictable tax policies, overlapping mandates, high transport and logistics costs are some of the issues weighing on the manufacturing sector.
High tariff and erratic supply pose alarming challenges, hindering growth and undermining competitiveness.
Now, plans are underway to gazette more mining sites in Kenya as the government moves to streamline the mining industry. Under the ongoing reform, all mining sites will be registered within the Mining Rights Board. Mining Cabinet Secretary, that is Salim Voria, has also told the National Assembly Parliamentary Committee on Environment that delays in passing the Mining Act of 2016 is hurting the nascent industry in the country.
We have received many applications. More than 1,200 applications. So it means that people are really inspired to venture into the sector. And I think what has happened before is that because of the lack of organization, many investors operated like cartels. But right now we put a framework to ensure that we are very specific. For example, Flospa Mining, we have an investment worth 4.8 billion, which is already ready for groundbreaking. Gold processing, we have 5.8 billion investments ready for groundbreaking, as well as granite processing, 2.5 billion. And of course, you know that titanium mining has been going on, in the country for the last 10 years. And many other investors have been doing different investments. I think the organization is what has lacked, but now we are doing marketing. We are identifying the key minerals and sending out expression of interest. So we should be able to attract more investors as we go along.
We did the allocation the other time from 106 million to 4 billion. So we wanted to follow up whether they have utilized the money as expected of them from this last year and this year. There was a conflict in Matabet. There was also another conflict in Migori as a result of mining, plus other counties. So we wanted to be updated of what is going on as committee.
Now, e-mobility Rome Chief Commercial Officer Mikhail Ganje says people are looking to transition to electric vehicles and motorbikes amid soaring fuel prices. Thus, the need for more capital for the supply of EVs that is countrywide. Alan Aoko with the details of that story.
Government last week announced that the country's e-mobility policy would complete public participation mid-next month. The policy will guide the development of electric mobility to be used on roads, rail, air and maritime, and provide a transition framework from the current internal combustion engine. Even as the framework nears ratification, demand for electric vehicles and motorbikes in Kenya has been on the increase. This means that producers of electric vehicles need more capital to ramp up production by being matched by financiers like Mogo that has sealed a strategic partnership with e-mobility firm Rome to enhance access of electric motorcycles in Kenya. The draft e-mobility policy proposes a number of incentives for electric vehicle adoption and support for local manufacturing, such as reduced tax and lower electricity tariff for EV charging stations.
Thank you, Alan Aoko, for that report. And we now look at sports, where the Kenya Secondary Schools Term 1 Bowl Games have received a sponsorship boost of 30 million shillings from Brookside Company. The Term 1 Bowl Games will be held from the 19th through to the 15th of this month in Machakos.
According to Brookside Head of Communications Wilson Kongo, the sponsorship will be channeled towards preparations for the Term 1 Bowl Games.
The Brookside Secondary Schools Term 1 Games are a clear demonstration of our commitment to corporate citizenship ideals as part of our involvement in initiatives that have a direct positive impact on the people. The Brookside Secondary Schools Term 1 Games are a perfect melting point for sporting talents.
Okongo called on other corporates to come on board and sponsor secondary school games as they aim to tap and nurture talents at a young age.
We take pride in the role of sports as a catalyst for progress and the promotion of individual development and self-fulfillment, and that is as contained in the national goals of education.
Kenya Secondary School Sports Association Secretary General David Ngugi noted that the sponsorship from Brookside would help them prepare adequately for the games.
We started our games last year fully. The year before, we started by having all the games together after COVID. It has been a struggle. And then last year, we put everything together. We had first term games and we had term 2 games.
This year's Term 1 Bowl Games will be held from 9th to 15th of this month in Machakos.
And reigning half-marathon champion Sebastian Sawe will lead Kenyan charges at the 24th edition of the Prague Half Marathon slated for Saturday. The race will feature 15,000 athletes from 115 countries.
And he's the best here today, Sebastian Sawe of Kenya.
Sawe finished 7th at the just concluded World Athletics Cross-Country Championship in Belgrade, Serbia, helping Kenya retain the senior men's title. Sawe will be out to challenge the course record of 58 minutes and 47 seconds held by Ethiopia's Atsedu Sege. Other leading contenders include compatriots Jeffrey Toroyotich and Patrick Mosin, who are both sub-60 runners. Haftamu Gebreselassie of Ethiopia, Uganda's Maxwell Rotich and Kenya's Gideon Rope are also in Sawa's challenger list, having run just outside 60 minutes last year. Morocco's duo of Jakob Labquera and Ahmed El Jada, Stephen Scullion, Helio Gomez of Portugal, Peter Johansson of Norway, Abdenasser El Khelfen of Spain and Eric Hill of Germany are also on the entry list. In the women's race, Kenya's Jessica Chelangat and Vivian Meli will be up against Ethiopia's Nixie Haftu and Gete Alemeyehu. The race will feature 15,000 runners from 115 different countries.